بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علمك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our studies on patience based on the section on sabr and shukr, kitab al-sabr wa shukr from Al-Mahajjatul Bayda, volume 7, page 111.
Page
11. Inshallah, today I will try to finish this chapter and reach the next chapter, which is about the reality of patience and the fact that patience is half of iman. We are already talking about the reality of patience. As you remember, we were saying that there is a kind of battle, a kind of fight inside between the forces that want to take us towards shahawat, our lower desires and appetites and whims, and what wants to take us towards iman and virtues. So we reached this point that we said shahawat are like those thieves that hide themselves in, for example, in deserts or in mountains. When you want to travel, they hide themselves, and then all of a sudden they attack. They are qati'ut tariq. So shahwa is the thief which blocks your way and attacks you. If we have a strong Maʿrifah and iman, it would be easy for us to win this battle. قوة المعرفة والإيمان تقبح مغبة الشهوات وسوء عاقبتهما. If there is understanding and there is iman, we would realize that there would be bad end for following our shahawat. Unfortunately, when we are so much under pressure of desires, we become blinded. Our aql cannot help us. When the pressure goes away, we say, why I did this? It was wrong. I should have not done this. But those who have a strong understanding and iman, before doing something, they manage to resist against the pressure coming from desires. So they would understand the ugliness of following these desires. Then Ghazali goes back to the angels. Every person has two angels who are commissioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be always with him. هذان الملكان هما المتكفلان بهذين الجندين بإذن الله. So these two angels are appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be in charge of these two powers that we have. And they are called Al-Kiram Al-Katibin. And we will explain why they are called Kiram and why they are called Katibin. He says the task of these two angels are different. One of them gives guidance, one of them gives power. One of them is hadi, one of them is muqawwi. So one angel gives guidance and one gives strength. And he says, every servant, this point is very beautiful. He says every servant, every person has two types of conditions. Each relate to one of these two angels. It's a very beautiful point. One condition is condition about ghafla or fikr. Either you are heedless or you are contemplative, conscious and thinking. If we are heedless, means we act unknowingly, or we may not defend ourselves against enemies. We may not gain benefit. We may not protect ourselves against harm because we are heedless. But fikr means you are contemplative, you are aware, you are conscious, you are thinking. So these two relate to the angel which is responsible for hidayah. So the one which is responsible for hidayah would register our conditions with respect to being heedless or being alert and conscious. Then we have another, again, condition, and that is whether you are in the condition of mujahada or istirsal. Sometimes you are active, you are working seriously and tirelessly, and opposite to that is istirsal. You are relaxed, you are lazy, you are not doing anything. These two conditions are registered by the angel which is responsible for strength, muqawwi. So one angel is hadi, one is muqawwi. The one who is hadi is concerned about anything related to our understanding and guidance. The one responsible for taqwiyah is interested in us being active or lazy. So, لِلْعَبْدِ تَوْرَانِ. Abd has two tawr, means two modes, two conditions. فِي الْغَفْلَةِ وَفِي الْفِكْرِ. Either is heedless or thinking. وَفِي الْإِسْتِرْسَالِ وَالْمُجَاهَدَةِ. Istirsal means to leave something, leave it to go as, it's naturally going, or, as taken by other people. You are not controlling. If someone, for example, doesn't trim his beard and lets it become long and long and long, in Arabic they say arsala lihiyatahu. Arsala doesn't mean sent it. It means left it without care. Sometimes it can become 1 meter. So
it is solid with sin.
With sin. We have the same term in the Quran, in the famous ayah we have been mentioning in Aqaid. Allah yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtaha والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى. يرسل الأخرى means let it go. So when someone dies, Allah takes partially his soul or her soul. If he is supposed to die when he is sleeping, yumsik, he holds it and would not release it. But if he is supposed to wake up, يرسل الأخرى إلى أجل musamma. Allah would let the soul go back to the body till the fixed ajal comes. So irsal here means this, okay? So there is ghafla and fikr. there is istirsal and mujahada. So who has the worst condition?
So when is the worst condition?
The worst condition
It's the offline exercise.
is when someone is heedless and lazy. So if someone is not doing anything to improve and is also not alert. Yeah? Imagine if there are enemies, what is the easiest target for enemy? When someone is sleeping, or even if he's not sleeping, is not alert, and it's very lazy, cannot do anything. But when you are awake and active, you are in the strongest position. If you are just active and not alert, this is not enough. There are people who are hyperactive, actually, but they don't know what to do. They just tire themselves and other people. Just to be active is not enough. Yeah? Even we have this hadith that those who act without knowledge, they are like people who travel on the wrong direction. لا يزيده سرعة السير إلا بعدا. The faster they go, the farther they go away from their destination. So, to be active is not necessarily enough. It's not necessarily a good thing. But to be active and alert and understanding, that's putting you in a stronger position. So, للعبد طوران في الغفلة وفي الفكر وفي الاسترسال والمجاهدة. If he is in غفلة فهو بالغفلة معرض عن صاحب اليمين ومسيء إليه. If he is heedless, he is indeed doing bad to whom? To the angel which is on the right side, responsible for guidance. Therefore, this will be registered. But بالفكر مقبل عليه ليستفيد منه الهداية. But when he is thinking and trying to understand, seeking guidance, then it's registered as someone who is respectful to the angel who is responsible for guidance. Like a teacher, those who listen and want to understand, they are registered as muhsin. A student is muhsin when he's listening and trying to learn. A student who's not listening or who is not alert is registered as musi. So we, with respect to the angel which is responsible for our guidance, we are registered as muhsin if we are trying to understand. Fiqh means you try to understand. The first lesson in logic, we said fiqh is harakatu dhihn min al-murad ila al-mabadi wa min al-mabadi ila al-muradi. Means you have a question, you go to your knowledge, your information, put them together, come back to understand the question. So fiqh is very important for being respectful to the angel which is trying to help us with guidance. Yes.
But for example, if we are praying,
yes,
and we are like saying our praying, we do all the qiraat and everything, but our mind is not there.
Yes.
In that case, are they still writing our prayer, or they saying because our brain is not there?
They write the prayer, but the acceptance is based on understanding. So, بالفكر مقبل عليه ليستفيد منه الهداية. When you are thinking, means you are showing respect to that angels to get guidance, so you are muhsin, you are doing ihsan, you are benevolent or benefactor. And this is registered as hasana. The same is with al-istirsal. Al-istirsal means when you are relaxed and lazy, means you are showing no respect to the one which is there to give you strength. You are musi to that. But bil-mujahadah mustamiddun min junudihi. So, this, as I said, shows that the best position is when you try to understand and you try to be active. It's the best position. So, these are then registered. These angels are called kiraman katibin. They call them kiram because they are kareem, and we benefit from their generosity, from their honorable nature. And all the angels are kiramun barara. They are good and honorable. They call them katibin because they register hasanat and sayyi'at. Then there is a beautiful thing about on what paper or disk they register. Where is this data stored? He says, إنما يكتبان في صحائف مطوية في سر القلب ومطوية عن سر القلب حتى لا يطلع عليه في هذا العالم. They don't put it on a piece of paper that people would have access to it. They have some like papers or whatever, a kind of book, which is hidden in heart. In the heart of every person, there is that storage. Even he says some of them are even in a place more secret than heart. Matwiya fi sirr al-qalb, they are covered and hidden in the inner side of the heart, or even matwiyatun an sirr al-qalb. Even you sometimes yourself don't understand. It's very, very hidden. No one in this world would understand what the angels are writing. لا يطلع عليه في هذا العالم. No one, or لا يطلع, no one is going to be aware. Then he says, these angels and what they write and those records, they are all from another world. They are not from this dunya. They are not from alam nasut or alam mulk. They are from malakut. So no one, by taking a lens or microscope, can find these records. These are registered in malakut. He says, these angels, what they write, their records, and everything about them is من عالم الغيب والملكوت لا من عالم الشهادة. And because it's from malakut, from the other aspect of the universe, لا تدركه الأبصار في هذا العالم. No eyes can see what they are registering. Yes.
Those two Quranic verses in Surah Al-Zilzal, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالًا and وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالًا, and at the same time in Sheikh Hadith Imam Khomeini says that in this realm only one picture can be shown. If you want to draw a picture, you have to rub the previous picture off. But he says that in the other world, if a person has so many different personalities, that those all personalities will be shown at once. What does that mean by
So we are now, inshallah, telling that. So these records are not accessible to anyone in dunya. No government, no inspector has access to these records, good or bad records. ثم تنشر هذه الصحائف المطوية عنه مرتين. Then twice, in two situations or conditions, they will be opened. These records will be opened and become available. مرة في القيامة الصغرى ومرة في القيامة الكبرى. Once in the minor resurrection, one in major resurrection. What do we mean by قيامة الصغرى? Maut. It says أعني بالقيامة الصغرى حالة الموت, because there is a hadith that in some collections of hadith is there from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Man mata faqad qamat qiyamatuhu. Whoever dies, his resurrection starts. Which type of resurrection is this? Not the final one, not the major one. This is the minor one. This alam barzakh. And as you know, al-qabru imma rawdatun min riyad al-jannah or hufratun min hufar niran. So, when we die, we would have the first experience of qiyamah. But in this first qiyamah, you are alone. Because other people have not yet died or have not been yet born, or they are in their own condition. And he interprets this ayah in this way. لَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا. He says it's for this condition of barzakh, right after death. Because there might be another interpretation that on the day of judgment also we are first resurrected as individuals. But he says no, it is barzakh. لَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. In the same way that you are created first individually. Yeah? It's not that all people are born together. So they are also going through minor resurrection on individual basis, one after the other.
But could I ask a question here? That God is everywhere with us, isn't He? Even He'll be there in the grave with us.
Yeah, we mean with respect to other people. Alone means other people are not resurrected with us in qabr. أما في القيامة الكبرى الجامعة لكافة الخلائق. But in the major resurrection, which all people are brought, then you are not be alone. So you would be judged in front of other people. يحاسب على ملأ من الخلق. This is one of the most worrying things. That people would be present and in front of people, whether it be our friends or enemies, if our file is presented. We have to ask Allah for refuge. Because, not only our sins, but there are many other things that we don't want other people know. Yes? So maybe you have some shortcomings, maybe even if they are not sins, but you don't want anyone to know. So.
But then if everyone is busy in their own Anxiety.
No, everyone is busy in the sense that they cannot help you. But not busy in the sense that they don't want to understand. So no one can help you, but they will see what is happening. Unless someone is protected, like Allah has forgiven the sins, takfir sayyat, mahbu sayyat, that's exception. So, on the day of judgment, لا يكون وحده, is not alone. بل ربما يحاسب على ملأ من الخلق. There are people present and he would be judged and questioned in front of people. Then those who are muttaqi, سيغ الذين اتقوا ربهم إلى الجنة زمرا. Muttaqin, after this judgment, in groups they go to heaven. وسيغ الذين كفروا ربهم إلى الجنة إلى جهنم زمرا. Those who go also to Jahannam, they go in groups. Yeah, they go in groups. يصاغ المتقون إلى الجنة والمجرمون إلى النار زمرا لا آحادا. So, the first fear and worry is قيامة الصغرى, after death. The second one is قيامة الكبرى, when all people are resurrected. Then he has here some discussions about قيامة الصغرى, and I leave it because it takes time and it's not very much about our topic. And then he himself says, وَلْنَرْجِعْ إِلَى الْغَرَض. Let's go back to our discussion. So he expanded about death. We go back to our discussion. He says, no, you have to go to page 114. Go to the last paragraph of 114, please. وَلْنَرْجِعْ إِلَى الْغَرَض. Let's go back to our own topic. He says, Sabr is ثبات باعث الدين في مقاومة باعث الهوى. The motive that you have for being religious can resist against the motive for lower desires. وهذه المقاومة من خاصة الآدميين. As we said, this is exclusive to human beings. This resistance. Because animals don't have resistance and angels don't need resistance because they don't have pressure. There's no pressure of desires. It's only human beings who have this resistance. And we said hasana is to move towards those angels which are responsible for guidance and strength, which means if you are contemplative and if you are active, means you are going to benefit from them, and this is registered as hasana. Then he says, those who are children, sabyan, very young children without ability to discern, and also those who are majanin, mad people, they are not responsible. Nothing will be registered because they are not responsible. Then he says, وَلَعَمْرِ لَعَمْرُكَ. We have in the Quran. لَعَمْرِ means by my life, means he wants to say this is very definite. تظهر مبادئ إشراق نور الهداية عند سن التمييز. The very first time you start receiving light of guidance is when you are reaching the age of understanding what is good, what is bad. So as a child, maybe when you are 6 years, 7 years old or around that age, you would start receiving the light of guidance. And this becomes more and more when you become mature, when you become baligh. It's like a little light that really then becomes a day and will be very bright. But at its early stage, this light is not enough. When you are a child, 6 years, 7 years, 9 years old, you have some guidance, you have some light, but this is not enough to tell you what to do in all your life. It has to grow. And here he emphasizes on the role of parents, guardians. He says a child cannot understand everything. And a child is not also responsible. Responsibility lies with the parents to help this child move in the right direction, because the light of the child is not enough. The understanding of the child is not enough. So he says, لا يكتب عليه من الصحائف ما ينشر في الآخرة. Angels would not register for children what are going to be exposed on the day of judgment. Okay? So there are no legal records for children. Even if something is registered, it's not going to be brought into the court on the day of judgment. It's beautiful. لا يكتب عليه من الصحائف ما ينشر في الآخرة. Okay? بل على القيم العدل والولي البر الشفيق. It's upon the guardian, father, mother, maybe sometimes elder brother, elder sister, who are in charge of someone, maybe grandfather, whoever is guardian of this child. If they are really trying to help this child, if they are kind, if they have concern for this child, these are the people that should be careful about this child. And then he says something beautiful. He says, Karaman Katibin, the angel don't register the child action. But parents should register. It means that you should not say it's a child and then close your eyes. This child is not legally responsible. It's not wajib for him to, for example, say his prayer or not. Or, for example, the way he treats people. But parents should register this in the sense that should be concerned about this and should be careful about this. If you see your child is doing something good, consider this as hasana and reward your child. If your child is doing something bad, consider this as sayya, although they are not legally responsible, but you have to be concerned. You understand? So, على القيم العدل والولي البر الشفيق إن كان من الأبرار وكان على سمة الكرام البررة الأخيار أن يكتب على. If they want to follow the footstep of the angels, they should write down أن يكتب على الصبي سيئته وحسنته. They should register. How? Not register in front of people, not register, for example, necessarily on a paper. Means in your own heart, register this, remember this, so that you then do the proper, things. So, أن يكتب على الصبي سيئته وحسنته على صحيفة قلبه. He should write it on his own heart. فيكتبه عليه بالحفظ. Memorizes this, because you shouldn't write even bad actions of your children. So, I have a notebook and I write it because then someone else may find this. You try to remember so that only you know about what bad things or what good things they have done. Of course, good things is not a problem to write down, but bad things should not be written in the way that other people may find it. And then you try to work with them, to improve them. If needed, you hold them accountable, little by little. Even if needed, sometimes maybe a little bit of discipline and punishment might be needed, depending on the age, depending on the case. Because some people are very harsh with their children, and some people have no sense of discipline with the children. They let them do everything, especially if they are not in their own home. When they go to the someone's home, be free. At home you have to be very polite, but here you can do. So this is not the way to train children. Yes, they should have freedom. We should not be harsh, but you cannot leave them do whatever they want, because then they never learn. They have to have some discipline. So, he says, this is the way that children can improve, and this is the way you can become like inheritors of the angels. You do what Kiram and Katibin do for your children. And then he says, in the same way that Kiram and Katibin become close, they are close to Allah, they are muqarrabun. If you do this with your children, you also become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَيَنَالُ بِهَا دَرَجَةَ الْقُرْبِ مِنْ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ كَمَا نَالَتْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. In the same way that Malaika by this have become very close to Allah, you become close to Allah. فَيَكُونَ مَعَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالْمُقَرَّبِينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ. And then he says, this famous hadith of Prophet refers to this point. There is a hadith about orphans that normally we interpret it another way. Prophet is quoted as saying, أَنَا وَكَافِلُ الْيَتِيمِ كَهَاتَيْنِ. Yeah? The one who looks after an orphan is so close to me like two fingers. Okay? So, normally we take it in the sense of looking after their needs, or maybe just showing them, love and kindness. But he says it means that you have to treat them in the way that Kiram and Katibin treat us. Means do their tarbiyah. If you do tarbiyah of yatim, not just feed them, not just give them dress, if you can help their development, moral development, personal development, and be, watching them and helping them like Kiram and Katibin help us, in this way you will be very close to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so what we understand so far is that, because inshallah next session we start new chapter, that sabr is half iman, so I want to make a conclusion. What we understand so far is patience is not just for people who are in a difficult situation like poverty or illness, or they have lost someone. Normally when we hear patience, realize that some calamity must have happened. Patience is more than that. That is patience. That is patience with respect to musibah. But patience is not only for musibah. It's not only for that type of calamities, of tragedies. Patience is a quality, a system that you can establish in yourself even when there is no difficulty. You know, it's like security. Security is not only to fight thieves, or when our country is attacked, we say we defend our country and nation and provide them with security. Security is a system that you can establish even if there is no thief, there is no enemy. You can establish a system, your police, your judiciary system, your army, your people be trained. Everything can be set up in the way that we have a secure system. Sabr is not only for people who are suffering. Sabr is that inside ourselves we establish a system. We know how much we should satisfy our desires. We know who should give the command. My aql should give the command, or my desires and emotions. We know that I have to be thinking and contemplative. We know that we have to be active and not lazy or just relaxed. If we set up this system inside ourselves, then that strength, that security which is built, that is sabr. Therefore you see sabr in Quran many times is for mujahideen. إن يكن منكم 20 صابرون يغلبوا 200. So these are not the people who are ill or they have lost someone. These are the people who are struggling, they are fighting against enemies. Okay? So sabr is an internal system that we have to establish to make sure that we are strong, we are able to resist against threats and challenges coming from outside or temptations coming from nafs ammara. That is sabr. So sabr is needed all the time. Actually, it's very difficult to be sabr if you want to become sabr when problems happen. If you don't have everything in place, and then all of a sudden you want to become sabr. Suppose I'm not sabr when I lose my father or mother or children, I become sabr. It's very difficult. It's possible, but very difficult. You have to put everything in place and be a sabr, and then if calamities happen to sabr, you can be strong. You can remain intact. So I hope if at least we remember this point from this discussion, that sabr is a possession. Sabr is not just not to lose hope, not to lose your direction. Sabr is something you possess, something that you establish, a system that you put in place, that you know what you do when calamities come. Who should give control? Who should be resisted? And everything like that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inshallah include all of us among sabirin and shakirin. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.